Hi, my name is Beth, and welcome to Adulting 101. Tonight, we are going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, paying bills. So to start with, let me change my screen here. Let's take a look at this slide. We have a picture of Ben Franklin, and he's talking about a sinking ship. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. So what do you think that means in terms of our budget? Let's see if we can think of some examples of what that means. In terms of budget, that means that even little things, if you buy little things over a period of time, it can add up to a great expense. So for example, if you're somebody that likes to play online games and you have to pay to play the games, it might be $5 or $10 per game. And if you do that every day for a month, even 2 or 3 times a day for a month, before you know it, you could spend over $500 just on games in a month. That's a lot of money. Think about what you could do with that money if you had it. So by analyzing our choices, we can make informed decisions about how wisely we spend and save for things we need and want. So keeping track of money we spend, that's our expenses, and money we earn is about making choices. And to keep track of these things, what we do is we do this through financial record keeping or creating a budget and monitoring cash flow. So what is cash flow? Cash flow is a term that refers to the movement of money flowing in, that's our income, and money flowing out, and that's our expenses. And we want to try to keep that income and expenses, the flowing in and flowing out, in balance. So let's take a look at our spending tracker here. Okay, so in this exercise, it says Caitlin is 18 years old and about to graduate from high school. She works part-time at her mom's office answering phones and filing after school. She earns approximately $550 each month. Caitlin wants to move out of her parents' house and into her own apartment when she graduates. But she keeps coming up short on money and dipping into her savings account to pay for daily expenses. Over the years, Caitlin has built up her savings account by stashing away birthday gift money and any extra earnings from jobs like babysitting and walking her neighbor's dog. Now that she plans on living on her own, she wants to keep her savings account in place as an emergency fund, but she's worried about how to pay for new expenses like rent and utilities. So let's review her spending habits and see if we can help her make a plan. Okay, so this is what Caitlin spends during a week. And she buys lunch, gas. She buys coffee several times a week. Some new clothes, a manicure, $25, wow. Movies and a snack, concert, that's a big expense there too. Now, if Caitlin spends at this pace for an entire month, how much money will she spend by the end of the month? So we'd have to add up all of our expenses here. And let's see, let's get the calculator out. Okay, so we have $6.99 plus 21.5 plus $2 plus 52.86 plus 2 plus 8.5 plus 25 plus 2 plus 2 plus 7.65 plus 2 plus 15 plus 89. So just in 1 week, she's spent $236.50. Now, if you go by the premise that a month has 4 weeks in it, so let's multiply that by 4. That'll be $946 just for the month. So let's make note of that. Okay, so $946. Okay, so compare Caitlin's monthly expenses to her monthly income. So we read up here that Caitlin makes approximately $550 each month. So what do you think is going to happen here? Is she going to have a positive cash flow, which means that she has more money coming in than going out? Or does she have a negative cash flow, which means there's more money going out than coming in? Okay, so she's making $550 a month, and she's spending $946 a month. So we subtract 946 from 550. 550 minus 946, and we have a negative $396. So she spent $396 more than what she brought in. So what patterns do you observe in Caitlin's spending habits? What does she spend money on the most often? And things that she spends money on the most often would be coffee. She spends $6 a month on coffee. And she spends money on lunch. And what advice would you give to Caitlin to help her reduce expenses so she can afford to move out on her own? So if she gave up her coffees, that would be $6 a week. And we go 6 times 4, that would be $24. And how about concerts? Concerts is a big expense. So let's see. So 89 times 3, so that's $267 right there. Or maybe she doesn't need to have a manicure every week. So 25 times 3, and $75 right there. So there's, just with those 3 items, 267 plus 75 plus 24. Okay, that's $366. So she's still going to come up short. So she might want to look at her clothing budget here. And so you don't need to buy new jeans and t-shirts every single week. So let's see, 52 times 3, that'll be $156. So then she'd be in the positive. She would end up having a little bit left over at the end of the month. And that's what we want to achieve, is to have a little bit left over so that we can put that money aside and save it up for going to a concert or buying some clothes. Okay, let's go to another slide here. Oops. Okay, so three steps to building a budget. Keep track of your spending. Identify your income and expenses. Analyze cash flow and look for ways to increase your income and decrease expenses. So, do you know what you spend money on? Would you be able to list everything that you've spent money on in the past week or month? So let's take a look at income versus income and expenses. Did I miss the spending tracker? No, we talked about the spending tracker. Okay, so income and expenses. So income is money that comes in, and you get income from various jobs or work like cutting grass or babysitting, full or part-time employment, allowance, odd jobs, interests that you might get on your savings, and other sources including tips. And expenses are the items that you spend money on, and they may be bills. For example, you have cell phone or cable bill, rent, transportation expenses. So if you have a car, you have your car payment, you have gas, car insurance, or if you need to take the bus or transit or other transit fares. Movies, CDs or music downloads or other entertainment, clothes, eating out, personal items, and savings for college or other future purchases. Even though you aren't spending the money you put aside in savings on goods or services, considering it an expense helps build short-term savings, such as for emergencies, and long-term savings, such as for college expenses, buying a home, or retirement. Okay, you have fixed expenses. And those are the expenses that you have every month. They do not change. So things like rent, um, your cell phone bill, those things that are going to be due every single month. You know you have to pay those whether you want to or not. And then there are flexible expenses that can change from month to month. So maybe like your credit card bill might be $200 this month, but next month it might be only $50. So that would be a flexible expense because it changes each month. So let's brainstorm some ways to decrease spending if expenses exceed income. And we talked about that a little bit when we were talking about Caitlin. We look back and see what it is that we're actually spending money on. What is actually necessary? And some of those things weren't necessary. That's one of the ways to get your spending under control, separating out your needs from your wants. And stick to a written plan, can also help reduce spending. So if you know that I'm only going to spend this much amount of money on clothing this month, once you spend that amount of money, that's it. No more clothes for the rest of the month. So let's brainstorm some ways that someone could increase income. Could you work more hours? Maybe sell some items that you own that you don't use? Maybe do chores for others, like cutting grass or dog walking, or making and selling items such as jewelry or baked goods. Okay, cash flow conundrum. Okay, here they practiced income versus expenses. And there's some more examples of what a fixed expense would be, like a car payment, car insurance. And if you want to put money aside for savings, count that as a fixed expense. And then the flexible expenses, car maintenance, might not need as much gas one week as you would another week. Entertainment, so going to the movies or buying some music, going to a concert. And personal expenses. So cash flow conundrum. So they ask us to help. Todd is in a real conundrum. He's overspending and needs a plan. Read his story below and help him put the pieces to a solid plan together before it's too late. So Todd says he gets an allowance for doing chores, which is usually about $75 each month. My cell phone bill is $45 a month. I use my phone for everything. Texting, downloading movies, playing apps with my friends, you name it. Let's see. The rest of my money goes toward hanging out with friends, about $2 to $10. Buying clothes, new music, video games, $10. And then into savings, $10. I have $70 in savings right now. My problem is that I didn't realize how much I was using my phone last month until I went way, way over my allowable data. When I got my bill, I flipped. I really should have paid more attention. It was $256. I don't have that kind of money. If I keep paying my regular $50 a month, I'm going to continue to owe extra charges. What else can I do? Do you have any ideas for how I can lower my expenses and increase my income so I can get rid of this debt? Okay, so let's think of some ways that we can help Todd here. So he makes $75 each month. So that's not going to cut into $256 too much. He might have to forego buying some new clothes and new music and video games for a while. But still, that's still not going to take him very far into getting that debt paid down. So what else can he do? So probably the best thing he can do is probably get another job or find some other way to earn some money. Okay, what else? So he definitely needs to pay closer attention to what he's doing throughout the month and follow a written budget. And he's definitely going to have to earn some more income to help cover that extra expenses. Okay, so what if? So what happens if you remove a small unnecessary item from a budget? How do you think one small act can lead to big savings? So let's figure it out. Imagine that you buy a daily coffee for $2. Calculate the true cost of those Java Jolts for each of the time periods below. So in 1 week, 7 days, $2, that will be what? Okay, $14. So over 1 month, going as 30 days in a month, times $2, and that is going to be $60. Okay, over the course of a year, so there's 12 months in a year, so we take 60 times 12, that's $720. Okay, if we multiply that out to 5 years, that's $3,600. Go out 10 years, that'll be $7,200. And then 20 years, you would have spent $14,400 with just a small expense. So it took a while, but $2 over a course of time adds up. Okay, so I'm going to show you some online resources that are available that can help you set up a budget. And let's see. Okay, I have some notes here. Okay. All right. So there are some apps that are available through Google Play or iTunes. One is called Spending Tracker, and another one called Planet Prom. So you can check those out and see what they're about. Another way to check or calculate, get to work on for budget workshops or worksheets. Another resource for budget worksheets is that's Sick Money 101. And I have it pulled up here. Okay, so it's My Colorado Journey and gives you a student budget sheet. And this is an example of what most budgets will look like. So you would put in your monthly wages. You can add in any gifts or allowance that you would get. And unless it's something that happens all the time, I probably wouldn't include the gifts. So that will skew your budget a little bit. And then it gives you like a list of expenses, and you figure out how much money you're going to spend for each of these expenses during the month. And then you get your total expenses. And subtract that from your total income. And hopefully you have a plus and not a minus. If you have a minus, you're going to have to go back and adjust some of those expenses. And then we have our long-term goals. These are things that we want to put money aside for so that we can afford to buy a new car or go on a vacation. So how much money do you want to set aside each month for that? And you would also subtract that from your income to get your total cash flow there. So that's one resource that you can use online that will help you. And another resource I found was 360 Degrees of Financial Literacy. And this is a pretty cool site. Found some videos in personal finance. And let's watch a short video on budgeting. Oops, I need to share my sound with you.
Everyone needs a budget, even high rollers like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Hi, I'm Michael Eisenberg, a certified public accountant, and I'm here to tell you that creating and sticking to a budget is the single most important thing you can do to build a bright financial future. What is a budget? A budget is a tool designed to help you live within your means. It highlights how much money you have coming in and how much money is going out each month. So how do you create a budget? First, enter the total sources of any income that you have coming in. That total goes under income on the right side. On the left side, you enter your monthly expenses. For each month, your income needs to be more than your expenses in order for you to be able to afford to do these things. A budget is an excellent way for you to plan for how long it will take to save for a larger purchase. So you may be asking yourself, how do I make my budget work? Creating a budget is simple, but it takes effort to make it work for you. Here are some tips for you to make it easier. First, distinguish between wants and needs. Do you always have to have the latest mobile phone, or video game console, or the newest LeBron shoes? Those are wants. Figuring out what to eat at the cafeteria for lunch, or buying a coat because the morning walk is frigid, those are needs. Second, reward yourself. Let's face it, saving is difficult. Reward yourself for hitting milestones on the way to saving for larger purchases. This will reinforce your long-term saving goals and give an added bonus for personal financial achievement. And finally, review your budget regularly. Being honest with your expenses is a major key to a working budget. If you want to learn more about budgets and other financial information, visit 360finlit.org and select the Student tab.
Okay, so what needs to be more than your monthly expenses in order to live within your means? Income. Okay, so yes, your income needs to be more than your monthly expenses so that you can avoid going into debt. And once you get into debt, it can be a hard road to get out. So make a budget, track all your incoming and revenue and your outgoing expenses, and make sure that you're living within your means. Okay. And I think that pretty much covers everything that we have for tonight. If you have any questions or if you want a copy of the handouts so you can work on it on your own, you can email me at ehorning@scfls.org and check out these online resources that are available for you online. And that's all we have for tonight. Take care.